jump into the second game.
Okay.
Hanwha Life eSports chose first pick, which surprises me because I think there's a lot of strong duos for Guma Delight still left available, like Ashe Seraphine. Guma has not lost a game of Ashe in LCK this year. And also, potential counter picks for your solo laners could be really powerful as well. But it looks like they want to get, for example, Xin Zhao, which is, I think, maybe what they'll first pick here in this game. And then wait to counter pick the next one based on what KT show, whether it's the bottom duo or elsewise. So I think as KT Rolster, there's a few different things you can try to do here. Like you could just ban Ashe and see what happens. You could ban the Xin, which would be unusual. And then things like the Nocturne will go up in priority. But Annie's gone. I think this is a great choice because KT will just Wukong Annie in any situation.
Yep. I also think that maybe the Bard ban can go away. Maybe they can use that as a flex slot to deny something like the Ashe. But I'm a little bit confused about what that first pick priority is going to go to. You mentioned the Xin Zhao, but that can leave you susceptible to something like Yunara Lulu, any sort of like Lulu lane, if that Ashe is banned away.
Yeah.
And the Xin doesn't feel necessarily as powerful. Kanavi, obviously one of our players, doesn't really care.
What if you ban... Okay, so you ban Lucian here. They go for the Xin first pick, and then you end up getting the Ashe Seraphine. Will they be able to answer is the real question.
I think Ashe, Vi first pick is going to be coming on through here.
So a completely different look for this draft than what I expected. And this does open the door for Ashe Seraphine in a big way, though.
Yeah, I feel like Ashe Xin Zhao is just so incredibly strong here. You can even just go Ashe Seraphine and lock the Xin on 3 if you'd like to for KT.
Yeah, get some additional information.
I think denying Ashe Seraphine is probably the first thing that they want to do.
Yeah,
and that's what they're going to look at.
This is why I'm kind of puzzled by the first pick choice here for Hanwha Life eSports, because in Game 2 of Fearless with this set of champions, Ashe Seraphine stocks are so high.
Yeah.
And so, is it going to be a Jhin draft here where it's single target pick? You know, like, is it going to be
Jhin Bod?
All right. Oh, it's going to be the Guma Ziggs angle?
All right. Ziggs Bod? Ziggs Pyke?
This has been such a volatile matchup.
This is a little bit scary, but can definitely get a lot of work done, especially with the fact that you've got Vi going in to guarantee hold someone in place. The follow-up that you then have is very, very scary.
Very bursty, but if you fall behind, the Pyke just turns into paper.
I really think that you need to lock Xin here, though. Like, you see Ziggs, like, lock Xin out. Come on. Let's not be weird about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's very powerful into Ziggs specifically.
Oh,
looks like they have something else on the mind.
Yeah,
Wukong can
odd.
still work here in this draft, but you're going to have a very, very weak early game. You're going to have to lean on the fact that your Ashe Seraphine will naturally have a lot of power, but not as strong as it would be into a Lulu lane, for example, with the Ziggs Pyke on the other side. You have to play very carefully. Very volatile matchup, as I mentioned before. So, see what KT want to do next here. They really just want to have that Ryze and the Realm Warp possibility and the roam power there. Now, once upon a time, we would have considered the Ziggs a flex pick, but I think with the Pyke already locked in, we know where it's going. So Zeka will have his opportunity for counter pick. That's why we see the Anivia here first. Cassiopeia is fearlessly banned, so I think the stocks on the Ryze are pretty up for that reason.
Yeah, Zeka has played Ziggs so far this season, and Mel is still available. I actually wouldn't mind KT banning Mel, just because Mel Pyke has been another thing that's found a fair bit of success, and I feel like that whole combination is pretty scary.
Before this Ryze was locked in, that was definitely on my mind. But I think now with the Ryze here, you want to have something that's a little bit more stable here in this lane. And not something necessarily that wants a skirmish. They could ban Ahri, but it's a little bit weird if you're going to go that all in on dive here for Hanwha Life eSports. If you have any sort of early game mishap like they had in game 1, you just lose the game if you don't have any sort of late game consistent damage. Twisted Fate, similar situation, but a little bit more global power, right? And a lot of ability to set up picks around the map more than Ahri. Yeah, so I actually like this ban a lot.
Yeah, I also feel like if TF kind of gets, if the Vi kind of gets caught out, which Kanavi can do sometimes because he tends to be in pretty dangerous positions, the Destiny can really bail you out as well. But the Yorick is going to be the last ban, so I guess they get Xin Zhao for free. I find that kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's weird. Maybe they're expecting that Cuzz wants to Wukong here, but I don't think he does, not in this draft.
Oh, maybe they lock top lane so that they can trundle whatever tank gets locked in or something like that. That could be an option that they're looking for. As aiming,
he does hover this
okay.
sometimes, so I don't think this is going to be anything interesting.
Lee
Sin.
Huh. I really thought the Xin angle was really good. Did it get banned and I didn't notice?
No, it's still up.
Huh, there you go.
Doesn't want to do it. As this is what another problem with first pick is. Now you're going to have to give the counter picks or the counter pick to Perfect. I don't think it'll be flexing the Ryze up into the top lane. They banned the Yorick, so I kind of expected this, but now we've got this dive comp that's also kind of a poke comp.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit weird in its identity. I think you need either a really robust, tanky mid pick here or somebody that does consistent damage.
Yeah, I mean, it is a poke comp, right? We do have the Taliyah locked in. That's going to be the answer to this Ryze. Taliyah Vi has been something that's found a lot of success, and you mentioned already Kanavi and Zeka have been a pretty incredible 1-2 punch as far as mid and jungle is concerned.
I think this is so simple. This
block very scary.
This K'Sante is so simple because you can weather the storm in lane. You have front to back here with two incredibly late game scaling threats. You've got a lot of peel with the K'Sante, but you have Ryze who can also root and becomes pretty tanky himself with his build, right? It becomes difficult to blow up instantly in fights. And then you have two main threats. You have the peel of the Lee Sin, but you also have a lot of engage because you've got the arrow, you've got the Seraphine ult, you've got the Lee Sin flanks. Once again, I think KT kind of got everything in this draft in a lot of ways. And on Hanwha Life Esports side, if the Jayce or the Taliyah were different picks here, I would have been a little bit more enthusiastic about it. But I kind of feel like this draft is trying to do too many things. It's like trying to both poke with a lot of Ziggs, Jayce, but also go all in and get on the back line. I'm like, it's kind of caught between two identities.
It's like poke disengage with a Vi. That's what it is. And I think that Kanavi is completely out of theme, but Kanavi will always be out of theme with a poke comp no matter what. So let him have fun in whatever he wants to play and then try and pick up the pieces from there. Sounds like a decent strategy. The thing they HLE do have is they completely outrange KT. So if they can deny any of these engages, then they will be in a very good spot. I think this is more playable than last game.
I definitely
That's
agree.
what I'm thinking.
I definitely agree.
Well, we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to jump onto the Rift for game number 2. As KT looks to try and get their revenge. Oh my goodness. Chichijik Lolpark is absolutely popping today.
It's very full.
This is crazy. As Delight, also possibly crazy. As they're just going to walk past each other. Not too much going to occur.
This is only Guma's second game of Ziggs this season, which feels wrong because he's really turned around his Ziggs. He was one of our Ziggs players, a year and a half ago where we were like, you're okay at it, but you're getting outclassed by some of our other Ziggs players. I mean, but he's looking much better now.
Yeah, he was mainly losing to Ziggs. That was kind of his thing for a little while, and then decided to beat them. If you can't beat him, join him. Sorry, so he decided to join them. That's what I meant. So he has actually, found a fair bit of success, which is pretty important. Having that extra string to your bow going to be very, very nice, especially for a team like HLE that really do like to mess with a bunch of different picks.
Yeah. Zeka is part of the losses for the Taliyah. He's only played it once this season, is 0-1 on it, but certainly a pick we've seen him pick up a lot in the past, and it's a pick that works incredibly well with Vi, a pick that suits the playstyle and the draft here quite a bit, and also has the ability to globally roam and match the Ryze quite well. Plus, it's great for Siege. With Ziggs, it's amazing because you can start to focus a turret down, the Weavers wall them away, and then Ziggs gets a satchel out, and next thing you know, the inner is dead, right? And that's an incredible potent thing you can have in the late game. Zephyr is caught.
Yeah, he is going to have to try and deal with Delight here. He does take a fair bit of damage. The heal comes out as now they're looking to try and chase him down. There's the flash, is aiming with the Ghost, and there is the execute from Effort. Satchel not quite enough there from Gumayusi. Cute idea, but doesn't get him close enough to take any turret damage or anything like that. First blood in this bottom lane already.
Yeah, this is, at least for Guma, the good news is he's alive and he can still farm here, but a pretty big disaster for this Ziggs lane, and he needs to make sure he doesn't take too much damage here, as Delight is just going to roam. He wants to find something somewhere else here, while Guma is going to back after this wave. The Ashe damage early versus Ziggs as well. Ziggs is like a Q, and that's all he can really do in his passive procs once. Like, that's all he can do in these early trades, so when Delight doesn't actually get the damage he's looking for here, it's pretty easy for aiming and Effort to kind of turn into the all-in, pop the Ghost, and do that damage, because you know, Guma did his thing. He pressed his buttons, and then there's nothing else he can offer there. The satchel was a nice attempt, like you said, but does not actually get him close enough to the turret.
Oh, wow. So, also, I really liked how KT played the Ender, and it actually shows that KT's communication has crisped up a fair bit, because Aiming was like, no, I don't want to flash for this, and Effort's like, well, we have to get first blood, I'm just going to flash for it. You could even see the moment where they were kind of deliberating, and then eventually flashes, presses Q, and manages to get that kill locked down. It might not have even been enough with only one auto from Aiming there to finish that.
Yeah, that's the scary thing, also getting yourself close to that turret.
Yeah. So it does mean now Aiming holds on to his flash, even after that first blood did go on down. As Minefield comes in, Kanavi was looking for an angle but doesn't quite find it, as in goes Cuzz, but he just gets booped away like a little game of cricket up there in the top lane.
Yeah, we do have
baseball if you are that way inclined.
We do have on the bottom side of the map, Kanavi was trying to make a play, but Aiming and Effort have set this lane up really well now to where they're quite safe. And see if anybody gets rooted again, because Aiming, even though he doesn't have Ghost anymore, because he's Ashe and he does have that flash, like if you get caught, you are just going to get run down. That is how this lane works, and we've seen it so many times. It's one of the strongest combos we've seen since like Kalista Renata, you know, where you're like, oh, this wins every time. You are in big trouble, but you cannot get away from it, really, is the major issue here, especially with the Ziggs Pyke lane. Do see that Delight is going for a pretty crazy wraparound here, trying to get some additional information, but maybe even looking for something deeper, as Kanavi is going to come over as well here, and they're just going to try to gank Cuzz on Raptors.
Yeah, he actually is just going to, kick his way into two people. Does have to safeguard away, does hold on to the flash, and that is important. Loses a ward charge, but that won't be the end of the world. So, and he's also going to lose his Raptors. Still, Effort holding onto the wave down here is not exactly optimal, so it's not like Delight is going to get punished for that movement. It's perfect, just doing what he can to survive in this lane. Going to be a different story to what we were seeing on the Zehen in the last game. But just wanting to be that front line for the team. And so far, so good. 5 CS behind, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, look at the bottom lane here where Ziggs is actually doing quite a bit of work. You know, he actually has, Guma has a significant CS advantage, even with his support roaming. And Guma is really putting the pressure on, so some resources, I think, need to be committed here to the bottom side. You see Cuzz is coming over here now while they have the advantage to push this wave in, and they are going to look for a dragon take. So that will, I think, shore up a lot of this lack of gold here for Aiming, as he does also catch up quite a bit with that wave going over. And if they can secure this dragon here, then they're going to feel great, as we might actually have a real skirmish over it right now. Zeka does have Weaver's Wall. BDD heading topside on Vision, though.
Yeah, actually going to wander over that ward. So Zeus knows exactly what's going on here. And now the bottom lane gets the information that there is no worries about a Ryze. And Kanavi coming down towards this bottom side as well, making his way in. If anyone's hit by a Bone Skewer, I think they just die, as Effort still doesn't have his flash, and that is a guaranteed kill. Short fuse from Gumayusi, and there's the cease and desist as Aiming flashes. Not sure about that one, because he's definitely dead. That's a double kill going on over to Guma, as the answer from HLE even better.
Quite a bizarre situation on the bottom side. Effort's movement as well, like he just got flashback up, but he didn't have it. I'm not really sure what he was trying to say by that. It almost felt like they thought they could turn this into some sort of like turn under turret where they actually win. Like it's like Effort is baiting here. You know what I mean? Like it's super weird. They had no vision, but I think with the lack of information of where the mid laner is, you got to assume that something is going on. They're going to look for the dive here, and I think they were very aware of it. It's just very strange. Also, Aiming's flash was very late, and after he was caught there, I think probably not using it would have been the better call.
I actually think never use it, because otherwise the Mega Inferno Bomb is going to kill you because you flash and then the Vice still holds you in position. That's why this combo is so powerful, right? Yeah. Is that you just cannot avoid the big boom boom. But you know, maybe just don't press the button and then it'll be fine.
So we are still setting up for an early dragon fight here. Guma is pretty huge at this point, does have even that extra Hextech alternator worth of damage. If he can get into position to use that damage, does not have his ult. And I mean, Kanavi looks like he's just opting out. They're just going to give this dragon up.
Yeah, that's not going to be going their way. So Cuzz will be able to pick this one up. And KT's bottom lane obviously helping out. Will now go over and catch the wave. So the objective going to be secured here, but still KT are behind about 1,000 gold. That's perfect. In a bit of trouble here. Zeus, very good at Jayce. Yeah. If you guys have been under a rock for like 10 years, this is kind of his pick. So This will be scary as we make it further and further into the game. I know that, you know, Perfect does want to bide his time and then be a big tank, but if you fall too far behind, you can just be a liability and money for Zeus, which is...
How much damage?
Yeah, the opponent doesn't like that.
Wait, Guma gets that hit. He may also be in a little bit of danger. Nah, he's fine.
Never mind.
He will be zoned out of this wave and will have to use his ult to clear it. And he'll be totally fine, unless Cuzz hits him with a Q. His back is stopped. You guys can see that on the minimap, as we are going to watch a Pyke roam as well. So two things happening on both sides of the map right now.
Yeah, this could be a 3v1. Dive could be dangerous here, as they do get control vision down. Make it 4v1.
And 4v1 on both sides.
Yeah, let's see if anyone can actually survive this. Is Perfect is looking for the angle, goes all out and gets all out as Delight could be in trouble now on the back end. Gumayusi is going to die as Perfect gets slowed down. The threaded volley comes in, but Perfect gets a bit of a shield. Still with the Ghost, that is going to be the guaranteed kill, but it takes out HLE a bunch of extra time to grab that kill. Whether that actually means anything is yet to be known.
Yeah, I don't know if that really necessarily matters that he took a lot of time, but if he had killed Delight there, it would have been crazy. BDD commits the Realm Warp here. We'll see what happens in this. Okay, just pretty straight up simple as it could be on that one.
Yeah, Gumayusi just giving aiming a lesson in don't press flash, you're probably dead.
Oh, this all-out angle. Insane after the shove. Delight flashes and Perfect cannot actually Q3.
If Delight hadn't have hit that Bone Skewer as well, there's a chance that Perfect actually makes it far enough to get himself out.
Yeah, really.
He in fact had teleport, so he gets into a brush, teleports away, like that could have been a thing.
Really a high chance he does escape if that doesn't happen. Delight does set that up initially, and they do end up getting the kill onto the K'Sante. The kill goes over to the Taliyah. The Jayce already has a significant lead here, so good for Zeka to pick that one up. Kind of keep the gold evenly spread amongst these members. Guma's big, right? Guma's got his Ludens already.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Even though he died, I think he's pretty happy with the current game state and how much burst he's going to be able to offer in these upcoming fights.
It is an interesting composition, though, here for HLE. So they need to make sure that that initial burst is onto as many people as possible if they want to make it happen. I feel like KT's composition, the long fight, feels a whole lot better with the amount of consistent damage they do have available. But, I mean, Gumayusi is just going to explode someone if they get on top of them.
It's the way that Hanwha play, right? They don't do the long fight. They do the kill the bad guys fast, win the game. That's what they tried to do in game one. That's what they've tried to do all season. And by the way, it's been working. They're 12-1. But let's see if they can continue to hold on to this lead right now as we are grouping around Dragon 2 minutes before it spawn. It's more of a bottom side play here. Effort does have his ultimate and flash, and to be respectful of this.
Effort looking to try and sidestep some bombs. Doesn't quite work as Kanavi is going to clear out that control ward right as it does get placed down.
BDD going to push a huge wave here that Zeka will have to respond to.
Arrow is going to get flashed this time around as the Q is going to connect. The Encore is going to land onto Guma. There's the beat drop as well. A lot of damage, but he's not dead. And Effort is, never mind. There's the Q connecting from Cuzz as BDD's made his way in. Ghosting on over, but they do make it to the relative safety of the turret. A 1-for-1, though, is not the end of the world for HLE, even if it is Gumayusi that does go down.
Yeah, Guma does end up doing a ton before dying there, and I think it's pretty okay for them. Obviously, the Cull is going to cash out here in 12 stacks, 12 more minions here for aiming, and that lead will shrink back down a little bit, but kind of feels like Hanwha Life eSports handled that really well. If BDD did not have his Realm Warp, he has it right now, but if he did and he came earlier, I think this could have been a lot better. Speaking of coming earlier, Zeka's here right now.
Yeah, he's just going to grab that kill. Perfect. Very, very dead. Good timing there from Zeka to make sure that they were able to lock him down. So the K'Sante not having the greatest of times, and BDD might be in for it as well, as there's the ult to close the gap. Bone Skewer's going to miss, though. There's cease and assist onto BDD. Minefield goes down. Mega Inferno Bomb's not quite enough, and there is the punch from Kanavi to lock down the kill. Delight looking a little worse for wear. The beat drop does get a slow, but Effort's not killing anyone right now.
It's a lot of gold with the Pyke passive as well coming in across this game, and that's a lot of money. Zeus is going to be able to pick up first brick as well, and this lead is exploding here for Hanwha Life eSports right now.
Yeah, there's a beat drop as Gumayusi wants to be able to satchel himself over the wall. Aiming, going to flash for it though. Kanavi will immediately answer, and I just really don't know whether that was worth it.
For aiming, I kind of feel like in this situation with the money he just got, the lead has shrunk a little bit. I think you're happy to get as much money on your main source of damage as you can because you're doing more consistent damage than the Ziggs. And at that point, after how much he had opted in, flashing for it, I think was pretty necessary. that's kind of my take. I think initially you could have just been like, all right, well, you know, he's walking away. We don't have to do this. But I think for what the end result was, because he was successful picking up the kill, I think he'll probably call worth on that. As we do have the Dragon here. By the way, there's a high chance this could be like a Hextech Soul, which would be busted for this comp with the Ziggs here for HLE.
In goes Cuzz, and down to 1 health. Does have to flash to get himself out of the seismic shove, as BDD does give him...
It's Hextech.
Oh god, it is Hextech. That is very scary.
It's a Ziggs Taliyah comp here where they have both the single target pick potential, they have a Pyke, but getting away from them becomes so frustrating. Now, the same thing is true, of course, if KT get this comp with the Ashe and the Ryze, you know, the fights get really difficult for HLE. The slows are very annoying, but I think it's just always going to favor the comp that has a Ziggs that can just lob Qs in to a team fight and chain that damage and slow across. As BDD picks up his rod here, game is still very playable for KT because of their composition, but I think Hanwha Life eSports really have such a firm hold over the map right now. This Vi pick is working incredibly well. The Taliyah has 2 kills here. And like we saw the cross maps happen both times where Perfect dies twice, Guma dies twice. The difference was Guma already had a pretty big lead. So he's very happy to get the Jayce and the Taliyah ahead on the other side, with his sacrifice being completely warranted.
Yeah, and also I feel like when Guma dies, he takes all of the minions with him, right? So he's never really punished that much as far as, you know, waves being denied or anything like that. The Ziggs always seems to be farming, as Aiming going to be doing a lot of this, and that is picking up waves underneath turrets. Thankfully, you know, his damage numbers are getting high enough to be able to clear these out pretty quickly, as Kanavi makes his way out of the Herald pit, looks for an angle towards Cuzz, just gets one little punch as the Bone Skewer just barely not long enough to connect onto Effort.
All right, we slow down a little bit here. Herald has spawned. See if HLE can set up either a Weaver's Wall play here to deny entry for KT or just a single pick that blows it open.
Ooh, Cuzz does have to safeguard away, but we'll be able to use it in order to be all right. There's the Encore as the arrow goes wide as well. There's the entire kitchen sink dropped onto Cuzz, and he will go down as a result. Bone Skewer onto Aiming means he's dead, and it's a double for Delight. The Pyke well and truly on the board now as KT, just no response.
Yeah, that fight initially looked like it was going to be real rough for HLE had they committed the way they did, but they were able to turn it around really nicely as Zeka walls in and flashes out. The arrow missing was a huge factor in that fight as well, as Guma's going to get realm warped on. He's got a lot of space though.
Yeah, let's see whether the Rune Prison is going to come through, and the answer is no. Just wanders far enough away. The power of Boots too, ladies and gentlemen, as Umbral Glaive now completed for Delight. And HLE in a commanding position, 6,500 gold.
I think this game is going to be really tough to recover in for KT Rolsters. Cuzz is going to try to find Zeus here. He's got a 150 gold bounty.
Let's see whether they can find an angle. The rest of HLE are lurking.
Hextech gates here are going to make it difficult for them to actually outpace. In fact, they maybe trap themselves.
Yeah, that is a beat drop on to Delight, but isn't really going to be suffering too much. They keep their control ward alive, as Perfect seems to live his life on 50% HP, as Effort is just ganking Zeus. There's the flash. Perfect trying to get an all-out angle, but does not quite get there as Zeus flashes to get out of the way. Kanavi now looking to try and punish this Seraphine as Delight gets the flash out of him. Will be forcing it with that Bone Skewer, as now Aiming playing very far away from this outer turret, understanding that there could be some bad guys on the way. There's the Rift Herald Shelly going to make her appearance, and will be landing a charge as their cease and desist onto Aiming. Effort is going to show up. Mega Inferno Bomb comes down. A fair bit of damage, but not enough to kill Aiming.
Flanking from Perfect.
Oh, Cuzz in so much trouble. There is the flanking Cassante, but down will go the Lee Sin. And Perfect, thankfully, on the correct side of that wall as he dashes out of the way of the seismic shove as well. KT licking their wounds as they try to escape, but they are just dropping kills left, right, and center.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Hanwha Life now, and hey, BDD, I don't know if you want this.
Yeah, Delight once again just going to close the gap with the ulti. Flash out from BDD. Makes sure that that shove does not connect. So he will stay alive. However, doesn't have the flash anymore.
So Aiming initially in the bottom side scrap didn't have his ult, right? Okay, we're going to go all the way back to this
This is a million miles away, years away.
Okay, so Zeka has to flash away, right? This ult misses, the arrow misses, and then now Kanavi has full agency, right? Cuzz goes down here, and Delight wants more. Gets another skewer here. and he has the reactivation of his ultimate, and that's just 2 right away. But aiming, to say that this was unsafe where he was standing, I feel like would be an understatement, but they has a lot of resources of players nearby to help him out, and they wanted to set this up. They kind of feel like they were trying to bait this into a perfect flank, but Weaver's Wall is up. Just a little bit too awkward here for KT. They're so far behind to actually make this punish play happen. I like the gusto because you're massively far behind in this game and you know it, but this was kind of a zero-sum situation there. Aiming does have his Phantom Dancer done now, but he's 1,000 gold behind Guma, but there's just too many Fed members of HLE, and this Hextech Dragon, luckily for them, isn't Hextech's whole point, but is a symptom of the problems to come.
It's a very scary situation here, especially now with sieges being set up, and Ziggs is very happy about that, like you were saying. Still some bounty gold could be coming on through here for KT. There are certainly ways to get back into this game. The problem is they are few and far between, and HLE may just destroy their Nexus before any of it can be even, you know, conceived, let alone actually done.
I think that there are some good tools to punish. Okay.
Going to deny the back.
One good tool right there, but unfortunately does not land, so there is going to be no punish. A lot of good tools to punish here for KT if HLE kind of go in piecemeal, 1 by 1. If the Light's trying to fish for a pick. And we did see that crazy comeback earlier this year against T1 where Carriot had a great Pyke early game, right? But then later on in the game just couldn't do much and kept dying trying to make the big plays. I think in this game that's not likely because there's just so many Fed members and they have so much map control that Delight can kind of do whatever he wants. Like when he goes for a Q, he gets a flash every time right now, it feels like.
Okay, so Zeus just going for a bit of a reset. 8.3 thousand gold. I just really feel like HLE, it hasn't looked like they're this far ahead. You know what I mean? Like, because this is an absolute blowout of a gold lead. But it doesn't feel like they've done all that much. Like, Zeus has just been naturally winning. He's 50 CS in the lead. Ziggs has been making money. The Pyke has been printing stacks, right?
A lot of this is, you know, the kills, obviously, but look at the plates and the turrets that are up. Like, KT have gotten 3 plates top and then 1 apiece mid and bottom. Meanwhile, HLE have 4 turrets because of the Ziggs and the Satchel and the passive damage.
And there's not a lot of plates left on these other inner turrets as well. That could certainly be the angle here, as there's a decent encore. Is Gumayusi going to get kicked back? Where's the follow-up, though, as the Seraphine is just dead? PDD wanting to get on top of some members here as Perfect makes his way in. Zeus dives on top of Cuzz to look to take him down as PDD. Not entirely sure what that situation was, as Perfect gets over the wall and regrets it immediately. There's the ulti from the Pyke. Not even necessary as the double kill comes down. That was meek, to say the least, as Zeus going to look to turn this one, as he will take a bit of damage, but there goes the turret, and there's a flanking Pyke to lock down the Ashe, and then inevitably the Ryze as well. KT, they're done with this game.
Yeah, that was... There were a lot of things weird that happened in that fight for KT. BD's timid Realm Warp, where he's like, I'm not even sure if I want to take this, and if I do, I'm not even really close to them.
Yeah.
It almost feels like he just kind of spammed it quickly because he was like trying to find an angle, and then he just kind of messed up the placement of it, and then he wasn't sure if it was even safe to go into. Didn't trust that his team was going to be able to turn the fight in time, and very messy. But that's the kind of punish I was talking about, where KT do have a comp that can really punish you if you overextend or you make mistakes, but they did not. Also, Delight, great peeling in that team fight as well, which is Pyke is not necessarily known for, but look at this. Effort's ult hits 2, and Guma gets kicked back, but there's no fault because BD's trying to focus down the front line of Kanavi, and then he sets up this weird Realm Warp here, like into the Wolves. If it's actually where Zeka's standing right now, I think there's actually a real angle. And then he like waits, and he's like, oh, I guess we can't really play this. Then Perfect is caught, the Light's peeling, the wall comes out, Zeus picks up another kill, and KT are, like you said, pretty done in this one. Then they're like, we can kill Zeus. He's like, I have a shield and I don't care about you.
Yeah, it's also the Black version. He's got such a big health bar regardless. So it's a tough time. As an arrow is going to finally connect, this time onto Kanavi, who just vault breaks his way out of there. Thanks, Merc Treads. Another kickback going to come on through here as the Encore isn't exactly the greatest, but Mega Inferno Bomb nowhere near enough. And that is a cute little pick onto Zeus. Cuzz now could be in trouble as the shortest little safeguard is going to get himself to relative safety, but not for long. Down he will go. Kanavi locks that kill down. And so KT, they are going to go top laner for jungle.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, KT had a great set of comebacks against D+. I don't know if this is it, but they're trying to fish with the group up. His effort is so
my goodness.
My God.
He stepped on one of those mines. He was very dead. Thankfully, Flash is out of the way, as KT will be losing this inhibitor turret towards the bottom side of the map as HLE just go back to demolishing all of KT's things.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're likely to lose the inhibitor as they do have this cannon here. However, playing a little bit safe after what's happened in the last few moments.
Yeah. As 2 seconds on Cuzz as well, so they will have an advantage for a little while. That's why HLE are going to be backing away. There's 15 seconds on this Hextech Dragon as well. And another pick actually would have been a huge deal as Cuzz gets out of the way of that shove.
Yeah, you always want to pick your angle carefully when you get out of that Hex gate.
Wait a second.
And now there's going to
be an inhibitor turret.
Yeah, they're going to look for the inhibitor turret here in mid. KT still have arrow here, but otherwise not a whole lot of tools anymore left to look for these picks. They need a few more seconds. Got to be getting close to IE here for aiming, but he does not have it yet. He might be dead if they get on top of him.
Yeah, Mega Inferno Bomb just does so much work. The arrow is going to come down. They walk into the minefield, though, and the bottom lane is almost just dead. Kanavi goes over the wall, kills Cuzz, and now it's just front to back here for HLE as Delight will be able to shut one down. Death from below, but Perfect comes on in. They get the flash out of BDD, and now the base is just going to erupt. Looking for this inhibitor in the mid lane, then maybe the one in the bottom lane as well before they head down towards that dragon. But honestly, HLE can kind of do anything. They're 14,000 gold ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's really much of a game left in this one for KT. They've been doing a good job of like grouping up and doing stuff like this. I mean, this is what KT did in the series against D+, where they were able to kind of play this guerrilla warfare style and punish expectations, right? Like, they're like, oh, okay, I expect they're probably just going to hide. We're going to push these waves in, and then suddenly, you know, we forgot to put a controller in that bush. Somebody dies, right? Zeus does get picked here, but Cuzz dies as a result of this, which is still a positive trade, I think, for KT. They just don't have Aiming's IE yet. If he has IE, maybe they can actually kind of keep pushing this, trying to force this while things are on cooldown. And then, you know, I mean, the Taliyah rocks that come in this moment are like so much damage. Look at that. My God, like Zeka is so huge in this game that Aiming is like, oh, I guess I kind of existed sort of near them, so I guess I have to go back to the fountain.
Yeah, it felt like one Hextech minefield bomb like almost just killed effort, like just straight up.
Yeah, I mean, both of these minefields from both mages are, I mean, the Taliyah rocks don't feel like a minefield in a lot of games, but in this game, feels almost more deadly than the Ziggs is.
It is a little rough as the Weave as well does come on in. Perfect is going to get singled out as now Aiming could be in trouble. Mega Inferno Bomb somehow avoided. Don't know how he found the pixel of safety there as he was sandwiched against the wall, but is going to be able to keep himself alive.
I mean, frankly, Hanwha Life eSports have insane siege, and now they have 2 waves of Supermans. They should be able to siege up this 3rd turret with Guma pretty easily.
Yeah, Cuzz forced to flash. That is a big tool now down as Delight gets himself out of the way. And searches for a bone skewer. There's a seismic shove. I mean, they just don't have enough flashes to make sure that they're going to stay alive. Effort going to get taken out as the teleport to come on over. Get a big old shield for the Jayce at least. As, all right, sees an assist on a BDD. He is very, very dead. Guma grabs that kill. Now Cuzz going to follow suit. Zeka locks down that one. And it's just an HLE celebration as they look to even out this series. Aiming gets one back, but it's a triple for Gumayusi. And that is lights out for KT. I mean, if you're going to compare the 2 games, I'd say that HLE probably won more, but they still have to win it again as we are taken to a game number 3 in the series.
The rare 3-gamer here at LCK. We got another one, and it's between some of our top teams right now. KT looked poised to get revenge